guy, 36-year-old male, met my ex-wife, 33-year-old female, when I was 25. We fell in love and the children came sooner than we planned, but it just happened and I love my children, 9-year-old female, 7-year-old male, 5-year-old female, very much. The first few years of our relationship were great, but then it changed. Looking back, it wasn't anyone's fault. We just became very different people. After our youngest daughter was born, our intimacy life became non-existent. It felt like for my wife, the purpose of having intimacy with me was done since we already had 3 beautiful children. After 3 years, we started having intimacy again, but only in the form of mercy hand intimacy in bed. It wasn't enough for me. But my wife told me that she was tired and busy with 3 small children. I was tired too, but I was willing to make an effort to make time for romance, not just intimacy, but also intimacy and romance. I had a vasectomy, so my ex-wife didn't need to take unnecessary hormones because we were done having children. When our relationship started affecting our children, with them seeing us very irritated and cold towards each other, I realized I should make a decision. We hadn't been happy or intimate since before our second child was born, and we hadn't had real intimacy since we conceived our youngest child. We should have ended it much sooner, but I felt guilty about breaking up the family. However, I realized that our home was already broken, and my children could see that, despite our efforts to pretend otherwise. So I asked for a divorce. Everyone told me I was crazy and to think of the children, and it was difficult in the beginning, yes. I left the house for my ex-wife. I rented a nearby male 2-bedroom apartment, and we started doing 1 week each. I was pleasantly surprised at how much happier the children became when they saw me happy and not easily irritated or brooding. I started dating my girlfriend, 40-year-old female, about a year ago, and what was thought to be a casual, one-time thing turned out to be the love of my life. She is amazing in every aspect: kind, loving, successful, funny, and incredibly beautiful. She does not have children, and she was happy that I was done having children. On my child-free weeks, I can just be with her. We can enjoy late breakfasts in bed and morning intimacy wherever we want in the home. I know it may sound selfish, but during those weeks, I give 100% because I am content and happy with life. She has even met my children, and they adore her. So, why did I provide this lengthy background? I'll tell you why. My ex-wife, along with my ex-mother-in-law and my mother, have been hinting that maybe we should get back together now. The children are older, we are less tired, and we are much happier now, so we won't fight like we used to. My ex-wife wants a real relationship, and she even offered to have as much intimacy as I wanted. Is that really what she thinks I want? More mercy intimacy for my sake? They say to think of the children and give them their old safe home back. No need for us to keep moving from place to place. While the guilt nagged at me, I rejected her advances and ignored her and the guilt, because I am happy for the first time in years, maybe ever. However, on Friday, my girlfriend came home crying. She asked me if we should break up because she doesn't want to come between me and my children's happiness. She wanted to know if I still loved my ex-wife. It broke my heart to see her so broken, as if I hadn't done a good job of showing her what she means to me and how much I love her. It turned out that my ex-wife had contacted her and told her that she was the reason we were not back together and that the children were suffering. My ex-wife claimed that we still loved each other and that she was only my fun for now. I called my ex-wife extremely angry, and she called me selfish. I then told her that being a part-time dad was the best thing that ever happened to me because I am not just a father, I am also a human being. My ex-wife started crying. I apologized for hurting her, but she hung up. Now, my mom and the rest of my family are bombarding me with messages, calling me a selfish man and a terrible father. My mom even sent me a video of my children where she asked them how they would feel if mommy and daddy got back together. And they were so happy, saying yes and jumping up and down. I can't forget the look of happiness on my daughter's face at the thought. This video was also sent to my girlfriend, and now she is distant and broken. I can hear her crying when she thinks I can't hear her. Am I wrong here? Am I a terrible parent? What my family doesn't understand is that my children's happiness now is the result of me leaving our toxic and depressing existence. But how can you explain that to young children? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. This is a textbook. Everyone sucks here except your kids. You and your wife had 3 kids in 5 years. You think she just married you to have kids, that's in the comments, mind you. You tried 1 session each of counseling and intimacy therapy and decided they weren't for you. You pulled the plug on your marriage because there wasn't enough intimacy, and so your kids wouldn't see you fight and experience tension as a result. You now have them 50-50ths and love it so you can be away from them and be a human being who is more than a parent. The love of your life you've subsequently found is a woman who is child-free. It's awesome because it's all fun and intimacy unless you have your kids. Your kids love her, but you admit if something happened to your ex and they were there 100%, she would be gone. Nonetheless, you envision a long-term future with her. Now your ex and your mom have turned on you, and everyone feels like shoot, including the love of your life, your ex, and your kids. Your wife sucks because she put her kids in the middle of a situation that isn't theirs to fix. I don't know how hard she worked on saving your marriage. You did 2 counseling sessions and dipped, but she may also have been a pain. Your mom sucks because what the hell, Grandma? Keep out of it. Your girlfriend sucks because you don't seriously date men with kids if you don't want to have kids. You don't plan for a future you might not want to be a part of, however fun things may be when the kids aren't around. You suck because you dipped on your marriage with 3 kids under the age of 10 after noping out on counseling, despite the fact you say you've chosen your kids ahead of everything else. You also suck because you pretend you're not a parent 50% of the time and love it, including dating a woman who doesn't want kids. Now you're on Reddit saying you did all the work in your relationship and child rearing, your ex lives in a pigsty, people who stay together to try to make it work are being superior. Your ex is just offering you duty intimacy. Just admit that you think whatever choice you make is the right one, and don't bother asking people who might disagree. You don't care. Comment 2. Any child of divorce will say yes when asked that question. I know I did. But did I want to really live like that again, walking on eggshells because of the atmosphere in our home when my parents were together? Hell no. I hated it. It was horrible. Your kids like seeing you happy and some arsehole in their family is lying to them that you would still be this happy if you got back with the mother. Your kids know it won't be like that, but are probably too scared to say no. They are happy you are happy. You tried your best. Do not go back, it won't change. And how did I know as soon as you said your girlfriend was upset that she had been contacted by your ex? This is a nasty move on her part. This is disgusting what they are doing to your kids. Tell her to knock it off, or you will contact a lawyer. She is filling the kids' head with crap. Good luck to you. Just keep being a good dad when you have them and having a good time when you don't. You have balance and do not give that up. Yes, it broke your heart to see your daughter's face, but that video was sent for that reason, blackmail. She is sick, you get one life, and if you are happy, kids are happy, then that, my friend, is a win. Good luck. Tell your girlfriend you're sorry they got to her, but you are not going anywhere. Comment 3. Everyone sucks here to varying degrees. You, OP, gave both types of counseling exactly 1 attempt and threw in the towel. You really fought hard, right? It also sounds like the majority or entirely of kid duty fell on your wife, and you kept pressuring her for intimacy instead of sharing that burden so she'd be less burnt out. Instead, you go off about how tired you were as well, except caring for kids tends to be 24/7 duty instead of a 40-hour-week job. Good work ignoring the unequal stress distribution there. Your wife, mother-in-law, and your mom? Utter shoot. Yes, send that video to a divorce lawyer and start the process. You and your wife are wildly unhealthy for each other, and the fact that she's manipulating the kids and using them to bully you is nauseating. Your new GF? If she's really insistent on being child-free, there is 0 reason for her to have developed a relationship with you. What happens if you wind up with full custody at any point? Is she going to become resentful of losing her life with you to having your kids around full-time, or will she bounce and leave you all? Now, for the update, my kids found out about the divorce papers last week. I had hoped to shield them from the legalities and the mess, but they stumbled upon a document I had carelessly left on the coffee table. The oldest, Lily, took it the hardest. She doesn't understand why I can't just love Mom again. Now they're not just excited about the idea of us being together again, they're actively campaigning for it. They've started doing things they think will remind me of the good times. From cooking the first meal their mom and I made together to play acting scenes from old home videos, it feels like they're desperately clinging on to a past that's long gone. My girlfriend Laura left me 2 days ago. The pressure from my ex-wife had been too much, and she couldn't handle it anymore. Her last words to me were, "You need to sort out your past before you can have a future." So, I'm alone now. The happiness I pursued and finally found, it disintegrated in my hands. I lost my job yesterday. My boss said something about cutbacks due to the current economic situation, but I think he had grown tired of my lack of focus and the constant personal calls. I can't blame him. I wasn't performing. The job was the last piece of my old life that was holding me together. I visited my mother last night. It's been a while since our last chat, mostly because of the constant pressure she's been putting on me to get back with my ex. However, she surprised me by sharing a story of her own. She told me about the time she almost left my dad when I was a kid, but decided to stay for my sake. She said she regretted it every day after, that she felt like a prisoner. And then she looked me straight in the eye and said, "Son, don't make the same mistake I did." After hearing her words, I began to question everything. Was I really being selfish? Or was I becoming a prisoner to everyone else's happiness? I don't have any answers right now, but I know that this can't go on. I can't keep sacrificing my own happiness. I need to find a way to make it right for everyone, including me. Now, for the comments. 1. Not the idiot. It's a tough situation, but you're not wrong for trying to seek happiness. It's unfortunate that your kids found the divorce papers and it's caused a lot of turmoil, but your relationship with your ex ended for a reason. It's important for your children to understand that even though you and your ex-wife are not together anymore, it doesn't mean you love them any less. 2. You're the idiot for not having a candid conversation with your children about the divorce and your current relationship status. Kids are smarter and more resilient than we give them credit for. They deserve to know the truth, gently delivered in a way they can understand. Also, you should have been more supportive to your girlfriend during this tough time. 3. No idiots here. This is a complex situation. Your kids are just reacting to the upheaval in their lives, and it's understandable that they want their parents back together. However, you also have a right to seek happiness and shouldn't be forced to stay in a relationship that's not working. It might be a good idea to seek family counseling to help everyone process the situation. Now, for the next story. I, 35-year-old female, and my partner, 39-year-old male, are expecting our first child together. I've been booked in for a C-section next month because the baby is huge and it is a risk to try to deliver him or her naturally. Now onto the issue at hand. My husband's mother is hugely entitled. She's in her 60s and usually gets her way with everything because if she doesn't, she throws a tantrum. An actual temper tantrum that you would expect from a toddler. The only thing missing from said tantrum is her throwing herself onto the floor. Anyway, yesterday, my husband told her that we weren't allowing visitors at the hospital. Actually, what he said was, "My wife doesn't want anyone there, so no one is coming to the hospital." And she lost it. She's been blowing up his phone non-stop, talking about how I'm disrespecting her as a grandmother by withholding her grandson from her and that she has the right to see him and be there. She's been calling me rude and disrespectful, saying things about how I'm being disgusting by treating her this way, and that she'll just show up anyway because she's not coming to see me, so it shouldn't matter. I understand that she's excited to be a grandmother for the 5th time over, but this is my first child, and I'm having a cesarean. I don't want people there. I don't want anyone there, aside from my husband. My own mother has been told not to visit at the hospital, and she's fine with respecting my wishes. But now, my husband's mother is losing it and is threatening to not have anything to do with the kid if she's not there to meet him the day he is born. This is a valid threat for her. She refused to have anything to do with her first grandchild for over a year because she didn't get to meet him the day he was born. My response was to tell her to go jump, in nicer words, but my husband keeps pressuring me to give her what she wants to keep the peace, and honestly, I feel like crap about it. My family is on my side. His dad doesn't care either way, and he doesn't speak to the rest of his family, so they're a non-issue. It's just his mother. He keeps bringing up alternate scenarios such as, what if she only comes to the nursery, not to the hospital room? Or what if he takes the baby out to see her so that I don't have to see her? It's making me feel like crap. I don't want anyone there, regardless of whether they want to see me or not. This is my first child, and I want bonding time with him/her. I want time to recover from being cut open. I want time for my hormones to settle, to get used to breastfeeding, all of the things that new moms have to get used to. But he's making me feel unreasonable by asking people to stay away from the hospital. It's not like they have to wait months. Assuming everything goes well, we'll be out of the hospital in 3 days. But he's making me feel like crap about it. So, I am turning to you, Reddit. Am I the idiot for not wanting visitors in the hospital after my C-section? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. So, while your mother-in-law sounds like a freaking nightmare, you don't have a mother-in-law problem. You have a mama's boy problem. People of all ages throw tantrums because they work for them. Mother-in-law throws tantrums because mama's good boy gives her what she wants. Hard not to notice that your husband didn't say, "We're not having visitors at the hospital," like an adult man would say, but she's not, basically throwing you under the bus and leaving the subject up for negotiation, since he's telegraphing to her that he's fine with her coming. Your husband is a father now, time for him to grow the heck up. The fact that your mother-in-law retaliated against a previous hospital ban by not seeing her grandchild for a year sounds like some sort of mental health issue. Be clear with your husband that you are very disappointed in him as a husband, father, and as a man for not having your back on this, and be very clear that you've spoken with your doctor and the hospital and there will be no visitors at the hospital, and you absolutely won't be changing your mind. Tell him that you understand his mom has mental health issues, but you can't help with that, and it's way past time for her to see a therapist. Point out the situation with the previous grandchild, and that if she genuinely felt love for that child, she'd have been the first one at the house to visit. But instead, she ignored the child for a year, so it wasn't about love or bonding, but about exerting control. I'm honestly concerned that if your husband isn't man enough to have his wife's back, how will he handle taking care of you and the baby during the 4 to 6 weeks required to recover from a C-section? Comment 2. Not the idiot. He needs to stop trying to find workarounds to appease his mother and instead find workarounds to make damn sure you and his baby are prioritized and respected. If my mom started calling my husband rude and disrespectful for having reasonable or unreasonable, for that matter, boundaries, we would be having a serious conversation about her lack of respect for me and my relationship. If keeping the peace with mom is so important, maybe he should be living with her instead of you. Comment 3. Not the idiot. Tell the staff SAT check-in and they will block her. Also, however long you plan to be in the hospital, add a day when the information is conveyed. If you expect to be released Wednesday, tell them Thursday to buy yourself some peaceful time settling in. Last bit of advice. When you invite her over, include an end time to the visit. Mill, we'd like to invite you to come from 2, 4, a few minutes before 4, thank her for coming and suggest a time for the next visit. Now, for the update. So, guess who decided to show up uninvited to our home a week after I gave birth? My partner's mother. This was right after I had just settled into a routine with the baby. Honestly, the nerve of some people shocks me, but the cherry on top was her reason for visiting. She claimed she was there to help. Yeah, right. Her idea of help included trying to redecorate our nursery because apparently the pink walls weren't to her taste, reorganizing our kitchen, for the baby's benefit, she said, and constantly criticizing my breastfeeding techniques. Not to mention the endless unsolicited advice about raising a child, as if I'm some novice. And what about my partner during all this? He was stuck in a loop of coming home from work, hearing his mother's complaints about me, agreeing with her just to keep the peace, then trying to justify her behavior to me later. Like, come on, we're supposed to be a team, not two separate entities bending to his mother's whims. Also, remember those few precious hours of sleep every new mother dreams about? Yeah, I can kiss those goodbye. Why? Well, because my mother-in-law has this unwavering belief that babies should be fed every 2 hours, even in the middle of the night. She's got my partner convinced that this is best for the baby's health, and now, despite my protests, he's setting alarms to wake our baby up for feeding. To add insult to injury, she has a ridiculous habit of taking pictures of everything and posting them on her social media. I woke up from a nap one afternoon to find my milk-soaked nursing pad on Facebook, captioned, "The Joys of Motherhood." I mean, who does that? I'm at my wit's end here. I've tried talking to my partner, but he just thinks I'm overreacting because I'm stressed and sleep-deprived. I'd appreciate any advice on how to handle this situation. And yes, I've already considered accidentally spilling coffee on her phone. Now, for the comments. 1. Not the idiot. It's your home, your baby, and you should have the final say in how things are run. Your partner should be supporting you, not his mother. It's crucial that he understand the stress this situation is causing you and that he needs to stand up for you. If he doesn't, then you might need to have a serious conversation about the dynamic of your relationship. 2. Not the idiot. Boundary setting is key here. It's not entirely wrong for your mother-in-law to want to help, but she's overstepping by trying to take control of every aspect of your parenting and household. You should establish ground rules, like when she can visit, what she can do, and that she shouldn't post pictures of your baby online without your consent. 3. Not the idiot. It's important to remember that it's your right to feel comfortable and secure in your own home, especially during the postpartum period. It might be a good idea to ask your partner to have a talk with his mom about her behavior. If that doesn't work, you might want to consider seeking professional advice or counseling to help navigate this situation. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.